This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.
Whenever you're listening, mark today on a calendar because Keshia is doing something she never does in a podcast, and that is use a 4-letter word. So cover the ears of little ones, but this is a direct quote. So I was in my 20s and I was having one of those moments, right? I was having one of those moments that we all have when we're young and dumb. I was probably about 21 at the time. I was interning at a local TV station near my college. And I was complaining to one of the older and wiser women at that station about how my love life sucked at the time, right? And this woman, who was incredibly patient with me, because now that I think about it, she was probably in her 30s, where I am currently. And honestly, I would not have had the same amount of patience that she had with me at the time. But she looks at me, she takes me by the hand, and she says, "Sweetheart, you have so much to look forward to when you get into your 30s. And, you know, again, when you're young and dumb, you think that getting older is the end of the world, right? And you want to be that age forever, regardless of how miserable it is. Like, you couldn't pay me to go back to my teenage years, or to my 20s for that matter. But at the time, I thought that was insane. How could she say that I was going to be happier or look forward to my 30s? And I said as much to her. And her response was, you know, the older you get, the fewer damns you have in you to give. You wake up every morning, and when you're in your teens, you have all the damns in the world to give. And then when you get in your 20s, you have fewer, but you still have a lot. And she was like, but as a woman, by the time you hit 30, there just aren't that many damns left for you to give when you wake up each day. And this is what I wanted to talk to you about today. Because I think that this is a very important lesson that, unfortunately, a lot of people in my audience, whether they're in their 20s or 30s or older, have failed to learn. So, welcome to Confidently Cherished. My name is Keshia Rice. I am a dating coach and hypnotherapist. I help women learn how to heal from their unhealthy relationship patterns, their unhealthy ancestral trauma, and then take that healing and find healthy, cherished, satisfying relationships. So also, forgive the language if this is your first time listening to me. Typically, that is not the case in my episodes. But I'm telling you this story because too often women reach out to me for advice, or I see this in the comments section of other coaches on their social media, or, you know, their YouTube videos or whatever, which also I've noticed that for some reason, and I love you all, don't get me wrong, but you know, you would really help the algorithm with getting my content out there if you were to comment and ask me questions instead of sending them in the DMs. But either way, I've noticed that the questions get asked all the time that are something along the lines of this advice: would it help me deal with someone who is a narcissist? This advice: will it make this man who treats me like trash suddenly treat me well? This advice: will it get the man that I'm with, who is terrible and it's not even a real relationship, it's a situationship, will it make things change so that we have a healthy relationship? So that he all of a sudden starts being loving and sweet and kind. And I'm trying to say this gently, with all the love in the world. If you are asking questions like that, to quote this woman at my internship, you are giving way too many damns. And you are also giving damns about the wrong thing. So here's what you need to know. When you are healed and healthy and whole, you don't have these problems as often. The reason why you don't have these problems so often is because you are no longer attracted to what is unhealthy. So we need to, at some point, talk more about attachment styles, and I will plan for that. But you should know that there are three main types. There are people who are securely attached. These are the people who have healthy relationships. And there are people who are anxiously attached, people who are avoidants. In a former life, before I got my life together and healed, I was an avoidant. And securely attached people are actually about 50% of the population. So securely attached people find other securely attached people. And then avoidance and anxious people tend to end up with each other because, opposites attract, right? You have that whole polarity thing that keeps them together. And I say this because once you join the ranks of the securely attached, you are not going to be attracted to people who are anxious or people who are avoidant for the most part. You are not going to want that drama in your life disturbing your peace. So it doesn't change who's attracted to you. Don't get me wrong. Once you heal, once you find yourself in a place where you are secure, where you are healthy, where you are at peace, people who are not that way will still be attracted to you. In fact, if anything, they'll become more attracted to you because they want a piece of that peace, right? But it doesn't matter. Instead of being so concerned about who's attracted to you, whether or not a narcissist wants to be in a relationship with you, whether or not a person is a narcissist to begin with, you don't find yourself so concerned with those things, because when you start to see signs that a person does not align with the type of relationship that you want, you leave. And that's really all there is to it. So I understand wanting to have knowledge. When I was in unhealthy relationships, knowledge was where I started. It is very healthy to understand what is a healthy relationship, what is an unhealthy relationship. It is a good thing to understand the patterns, the grooming, the training as a child that led you to be in certain types of relationships. I think that's why I think that therapy is so amazing. I am sponsored by BetterHelp. So, and actually I will make sure that there is a link for BetterHelp in the show notes for this episode. So if you want a discount off your first month of therapy, you can get that. But yeah, I think that therapy is amazing. I think everyone should go to therapy. It is great for understanding what got you to the place that you are now. No matter what place that is. I think even if your life is good, there's always room for improvement, right? So therapy is great for that. And I do think having that foundation of understanding, okay, how did I get here, is important. But once you have that, the mistake that I see too often is women continually searching for more of that. Spending months, years searching for how to spot a narcissist, how to avoid being in a relationship with a narcissist, how to avoid being taken advantage of. Don't get me wrong, because I have some videos and content on that myself. At the same time, right? Even when I put out content like that, I'm intentional about making videos, doing podcasts, that certain things relate to different levels. So if you ever see a TikTok or a reel of mine that you just don't resonate with, you're not at that level, wherever that level is. You may be above it or you may be below it, but you're not there. But I try to post things for all different levels. So when I make content for someone who truly doesn't understand the signs of an unhealthy relationship, then, that is beginner level content. That is where you start in your healthy relationship journey. That is all good. But at some point, you need to move beyond that. At some point, you need to move to the point where you don't care about the fact that there are narcissists in this world, that there are abusers in this world. And I'm not saying turn a complete blind eye. You have to use your discernment, but that's the point, right? You use your discernment. You understand quickly that this person is not healthy for you, whether they are in general not a healthy person or whether they are a perfectly good person, but they're just not right for you. This person's not right for you. So you move on and you focus on the people who actually have potential to be in a great relationship with you. And then you get to know those people, and some of those people will fall off by the wayside, and that's cool because it brings you closer to the person who is supposed to be your purpose partner, right? So there's no hard feelings. There's no obsessing over what's definitely not going to work. It is focusing on what do I need to do to get closer to what I actually want? And how do I say no to everything that is not that, right? So I'm going to keep this episode short because I've gotten some comments from you guys. And I appreciate the feedback that you like when I keep the episode shorter and give you something to think on and journal about. So that's what I want to do today. I want you to take some time, grab pen and paper, and ask yourself, why am I so concerned with people who are not healthy and who are not right for me? And if I stop being so concerned about those people, what can my life look like? As always, let me know your insights from this episode. I am at Keshia Rice, KESHIARICE. And I'm at that handle on Instagram, on Threads, on TikTok, and on YouTube. So I will talk to you soon. Love you so much. Bye. Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KeshiaRice.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.